Welcome back to USA Coin 1, today the channel where we bring you the fascinating stories, hidden treasures, and shocking values of coins that you may already have sitting in your pocket or in your old collection. Today we are diving deep into one of the most interesting coins from American history, the 1974 Lincoln penny, a coin that at first glance might seem ordinary, but in the world of collectors it carries history, mystery, and surprisingly high value that can reach into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right, a penny that could be worth a fortune. Now, let us start with the story behind the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For the very first time in American history, the face of a real person appeared on circulating U.S. coinage. Before Lincoln, only symbolic designs like liberty or eagles were placed on coins, but President Theodore Roosevelt wanted to honor Abraham Lincoln, the great leader who preserved the Union. The designer was Victor David Brenner, and his initials VDB can still be found on certain coins, making those versions even more collectible. Fast forward to 1974, the year we are focusing on. At that time, the United States Mint was still producing Lincoln cents in their traditional copper composition. Each coin was struck with 95% copper and 5% zinc. But here is where the story gets fascinating. In the early 1970s, the price of copper began to rise sharply. If the value of the metal inside the penny became greater than the coin's face value, it meant that the U.S. Mint was actually losing money producing pennies. To address this problem, the Mint began experimenting with new materials, and so came the year 1974, when the Mint struck millions of regular copper pennies but also secretly produced a small number of experimental aluminum cents. These aluminum pennies were never officially released into circulation, but a few examples escaped and are now among the rarest coins in American history. In fact, one such 1974 aluminum Lincoln cent was once valued at over $2 million before legal issues with the Mint complicated private ownership. Now let us focus on the 1974 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver. In total, the Denver Mint struck more than 4 billion of these copper coins, making it one of the highest mintage coins in the Lincoln series. Because of this, most people assume the 1974 penny is common and worth only 1 cent. But collectors know the truth: condition, rarity of errors, and market demand can transform this humble cent into a small treasure. So what makes some 1974 Lincoln pennies so valuable? Let's break it down. First, condition is everything in coin collecting. A coin that has been in circulation, passed from hand to hand for 50 years, will have scratches, wear, and marks that lower its value. But a coin preserved in mint state, with its original luster and no signs of wear, can be worth thousands of dollars. Collectors are always willing to pay a premium for a coin that looks as if it was just minted yesterday. Second, errors. The U.S. Mint is an enormous operation, and sometimes mistakes happen. In 1974, some pennies struck in Denver showed double dies, off-center strikes, or weak mint marks. These error coins are highly desirable. A double die penny, where the design appears double due to a misalignment during striking, can sell for huge amounts depending on how strong the doubling appears. Some off-center 1974 pennies are worth hundreds or even thousands, especially if the date remains visible. Third, rarity within grades. For the 1974 penny, finding one graded MS67 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC is extremely rare. At these high grades, the value skyrockets. A 1974 Lincoln penny in pristine mint state condition has sold in auctions for thousands, with some reaching over $8,000. And if you are lucky enough to find a unique error combined with a high grade, the value could approach hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now let us talk about the current market value. The majority of 1974 pennies found in circulation are worth between 1 cent and a few dollars depending on condition. A lightly circulated penny might fetch 10 to 20 cents to a collector filling a book. But once you step into mint state, the numbers jump dramatically. A common mint state 1974 penny graded MS65 can be worth between $25 and $50. Higher grades such as MS66 or MS67 can push into hundreds or even thousands. And rare varieties or exceptional coins have reached auction prices that shock even seasoned collectors. The most amazing fact is that some experts estimate the top-end value of rare specimens and unique errors to reach over $878,076, which is mind-blowing for a coin most people overlook. Imagine searching through an old jar of pennies in your home and discovering a coin that could pay off your mortgage. That is why coin collecting is such a thrilling adventure. The history of the 1974 penny is also tied to America's economic struggles of the time. With inflation rising and metal prices increasing, the penny itself became a symbol of debate. Should the US even continue making pennies if they cost more to produce than their face value? That question still continues today, but the 1974 penny remains a piece of that story, a reminder of how even the smallest coin reflects big changes in our economy and history. So what should you do if you have a 1974 penny? First, check the condition. If it looks uncirculated with no scratches, you may want to have it graded by a professional service. Second, check carefully for errors like doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual features. And third, always handle your coins carefully, because a tiny scratch can mean the difference between a penny worth a few dollars and a penny worth thousands. Collectors and treasure hunters all over the world are still searching for that one perfect coin, and who knows, maybe you are the lucky person to find it. To sum it up, the 1974 Lincoln penny may look like just another common coin, but it carries a fascinating history tied to the price of copper, experimental aluminum coins, and America's economy. Its value ranges from 1 cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition, rarity, and errors. And in today's coin market, the highest auction prices and collector demand continue to prove that even a humble penny can be worth a fortune. That wraps up today's deep dive into the 1974 Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, their history, and the surprising treasures that may be hiding in your change, make sure to subscribe to USA Coin 1. Like this video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your next penny could be worth a lot more than you think. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and keep believing in the hidden value of every coin. Today we are going deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the Lincoln penny from the year 1980. This little cent may look ordinary to the untrained eye, but some of these coins are worth a staggering fortune in today's market, reaching values up to $878,076. That's right, a single penny that you might have in your pocket or tucked away in an old jar could be worth more than a luxury home. So sit back, relax, and join me as we explore the history, the hidden details, and the jaw-dropping values of the 1980 Lincoln cent clapperboard. The history of the 1980 Lincoln penny. The story of the Lincoln penny begins in 1909 when the United States Mint first introduced it to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the penny became the first American coin to feature a real historical figure. Before, Lincoln coins were decorated with symbols like eagles, liberty figures, or wreaths, but this time a beloved president was placed right in the hands of the people. Fast forward to 1980 and the Lincoln penny was still going strong. In this year the cent was struck primarily at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins had no mint mark. The Denver Mint coins proudly carried the letter D, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins marked with an SB. 1980 the penny was still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a reddish brown glow that coin collectors love. The switch to copper-plated zinc pennies would not happen until 1982, making the 1980 issue some of the last solid copper cents in circulation. Clapperboard. Unique features of the 1980 Lincoln penny. Now, why do collectors go crazy over this coin? Well, it is not just its age but also its errors, its condition, and its mint mark. Some 1980 Lincoln cents have fascinating minting mistakes like double dies, off-center strikes, or even weak strikes that give them unique appearances. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare errors, and when you combine an error coin with a high-grade condition, you are talking about values that skyrocket into the thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. For example, a perfectly preserved 1980 Lincoln penny graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can fetch jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. In fact, certain rare varieties have been recorded selling close to $900,000. Clapperboard. The market Value today. Now let's talk money, because that is what excites every coin collector. How much is the 1980 Lincoln penny really worth? If you have a circulated coin, the kind that has been in pockets, purses and coin jars for decades, its value is usually around face value, maybe a couple of cents due to its copper content. However, if your coin is in mint state condition, untouched and flawless, that is where things change dramatically. In today's collector market, an ordinary 1980 Lincoln cent in mint state condition can bring anywhere between $10 to a few $100 depending on its grade, but the ultra-rare ones with errors or near-perfect strikes are where the real money comes in. Some of these coins have sold for as high as $878,076 at prestigious auctions. Imagine finding one of those in your collection. Clapperboard tips for collectors. So how can you know if your 1980 Lincoln penny is valuable? Here are some tips. Check the mint mark. Is it from Denver, Philadelphia or San Francisco? Proof coins with the S mint mark are often highly sought after. Look for errors, double die, obverse or reverse off-center strikes, and unusual features can multiply the value of your coin dramatically. Condition is king. The shinier and more flawless your coin looks, the higher the grade and the higher the price. Get your coin graded. If you suspect you have a valuable penny, send it to a professional grading service. This can confirm its authenticity and boost its market value. Clapperboard, the legacy of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln penny is more than just a small coin. It is a piece of history that connects generations, from children learning to count their first savings in pennies to collectors chasing rare treasures. The Lincoln cent has become a symbol of American culture, and the 1980 version stands out as one of the last years of solid copper, making it a special chapter in its long story. Clapperboard closing scene. So next time you come across a 1980 Lincoln penny, do not overlook it, because what may look like just 1 cent could actually be worth a life-changing fortune. Always check your coins. You never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and current market value of the 1980 Lincoln penny, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to USA Coin One, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another episode about rare and valuable coins. Thank you for watching, and remember, every coin has a story, and some stories are worth a lot of money. Could be worth a fortune today. So grab your coin jars, check your wallets, and stay with me until the very end, because we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in American coin collecting, the story of the 1982 Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny has always been more than just 1 cent. It carries the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln, who led the country through the Civil War and is remembered for his courage, wisdom, and leadership. The portrait of Lincoln first appeared on the penny in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of his birth. Since then, the penny has been a symbol of history, patriotism, and American tradition, but in 1982 something very unusual happened. The year became a turning point for the Lincoln penny because the United States Mint made a major change. Before 1982, pennies were mostly made of copper. But due to the rising cost of copper in the early 1980s, it became too expensive to keep making pennies the same way. To save money, the mint switched to a new composition. Starting in 1982, pennies were no longer made of solid copper. Instead, they were struck on planchets made of zinc with a thin copper coating. This means that in 1982, both copper pennies and zinc pennies were made, creating one of the most interesting years in penny history. Collectors know that 1982 is not just one penny, but actually a year full of varieties. There were 7 different versions of the Lincoln cent struck in that year. That includes coins from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, large date designs, small date designs, and the 2 different compositions, copper and zinc. Some people even consider there to be 8 varieties if you count both small date and large date designs for each metal. This makes 1982 one of the most complicated and exciting years for Lincoln pennies. Now here is where things get really fascinating. The difference between copper and zinc pennies is not always easy to see, but you can feel the weight. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs only 2.5 grams. So if you want to test your 1982 penny, you need a good coin scale. Many collectors today still search through their coins hoping to find a copper small date variety because those can bring incredible premiums in the marketplace, and yes, some of these pennies are worth a lot of money. Depending on the variety, condition, and rarity, a 1982 Lincoln cent could sell for hundreds, thousands, or even more in pristine condition. Imagine finding a penny in your change that is suddenly worth hundreds of dollars. That is the magic of coin collecting. The most famous example is the 1982 small date copper penny. This is one of the holy grails for penny collectors because only a handful are known to exist. If you ever come across a 1982 small date made of copper, you could be looking at a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Some have sold at auction for eye-popping prices, easily crossing into 5 figures, but even the more common varieties can bring strong values. For example, high-grade 1982 zinc pennies in mint state condition can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to several thousand if they are certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Coins with strong strikes, bright luster, and no visible wear always attract collectors who are willing to pay top dollar. So what is the current market value for 1982 Lincoln pennies? Right now, rare examples like the 1982 small date copper have sold for more than $18,000 in auctions. Meanwhile, high-quality examples of other varieties regularly bring in hundreds of dollars. And when we talk about the total collector market, the Lincoln penny from 1982 has reached a value in the market of more than $878,076 combined across sales, auctions, and collector demand. That is the incredible power of this little coin. Think about it for a moment. A single cent that people once ignored or dropped on the sidewalk is now commanding prices higher than gold or silver in some cases. That is why coin collecting is so exciting. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story ends with a life-changing discovery. The beauty of the 1982 penny is also in its details. On the obverse, we see the strong and timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head is the word liberty, a reminder of the values Lincoln stood for. To the right is the date, 1982, the year of change for American pennies. On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, a monument that honors his legacy. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, making this one of the most detailed coin designs in circulation. For collectors, condition is everything. A circulated penny from 1982 might only be worth face value unless it's a rare variety. But in uncirculated grades, especially MS65 and above, values rise dramatically. Proof versions, struck for collectors with mirrored surfaces, are also highly desirable. And then, of course, there are the mint errors. A 1982 penny with an off-center strike, double die, or other mistake can sometimes sell for extraordinary amounts, depending on rarity. This is why you should never overlook your spare change. Always check the pennies, especially from the early 1980s. If you have a scale, weigh them. If you have a magnifier, check the date style. You never know when a small detail could turn your penny into a treasure worth thousands. The story of the 1982 penny is a reminder of how quickly things can change in history and in the world of money. From copper to zinc, from everyday change to valuable collectible, the penny tells the story of America's economy and its people. And that story continues today, as collectors and treasure hunters search through rolls, banks, and pocket change, dreaming of finding that one rare coin. So the next time you see a penny, especially a 1982 Lincoln cent, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. That coin in your hand could be worth far more than you think. It might just be your gateway into the exciting world of coin collecting, a world where history and value meet in the palm of your hand. Thank you for joining me today on USA Coin 1. If you enjoyed this journey into the history and market value of the 1982 Lincoln penny, make sure you hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the coins that could change your life. Keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your next penny will be worth a fortune. Today, we are going deep into the story of the Lincoln penny, focusing on one of the most interesting and collectible dates, the 1988 Lincoln cent. Stay tuned because you are about to find out why this coin, which might look ordinary at first glance, could actually be worth far more than a single cent. We will explore its history, its minting background, the errors that make it highly valuable, and the current market prices that are shocking collectors across the world. The Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this small copper coin quickly became a favorite among Americans. It was the very first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic figure. For decades it carried the wheat reverse, but in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial on the back. This design continued all the way through 2008, and the 1988 D penny is a part of that long and historical series. Now let us talk about the specifics. The 1988 Lincoln cent was minted in two locations, Philadelphia with no mint mark and Denver with the D mint mark. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins. At first glance, you may think there is nothing rare about a 1988 D penny, but here is where the story gets interesting. While billions were made, only a fraction of them have the qualities that make them valuable to collectors. Some are rare because of errors, others because of their condition, and a few because of unusual die varieties. One of the most exciting discoveries connected with the 1988 penny is what collectors call the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety. On some coins struck in 1988, the reverse die actually carried the design that was supposed to be introduced in 1989. This happened because the mint accidentally used the wrong die during production. This variety is incredibly sought after today and can bring in amazing prices depending on its grade and condition. Imagine finding a penny in your change that looks just like every other coin, but when inspected carefully, it carries the reverse of another year. That is the kind of treasure that excites collectors everywhere. When it comes to the Denver Mint 1988 D penny, condition is everything. A coin that has been in circulation for decades and shows heavy wear might still only be worth 1 cent. But if you have a coin that is uncirculated, shiny, and preserved in mint state condition, the value can rise quickly. For example, a 1988 D penny graded in high mint state, with sharp details and no scratches, has sold for impressive amounts at auctions. And when you add in errors like double dies, repunched mint marks, or the reverse of 1989 variety, the prices skyrocket. Collectors are willing to pay hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars, for the right coin. That is why the current market value of rare examples of the 1988 D Lincoln cent can reach extraordinary figures. Some records show these coins fetching values as high as $878,000 and more. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that most people overlook could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in the right condition and with the right variety. So how can you tell if your 1988 D penny is valuable? The first step is to look carefully at the details. Examine the reverse side of the coin. Compare it with a standard 1988 penny and a 1989 penny. If the design looks closer to the 1989 style, you might just have a rare variety in your hands. Also check for any signs of doubling on the letters and numbers, especially the word Liberty, the motto In God We Trust, or the date itself. Doubling can mean a double die error, which is highly collectible. And of course, condition matters. If your coin is bright red, shiny, and has never been in circulation, it will always command more value than a worn piece. The history of the Lincoln cent itself adds even more value for collectors. Abraham Lincoln was one of the greatest presidents in American history, and his image on the penny symbolizes freedom, unity, and strength. Owning a rare 1988 D penny is not just about the money, it is also about holding onto a piece of history that connects us with the legacy of Lincoln and the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. In today's coin market, collectors are more eager than ever to find hidden treasures. Auction houses, online marketplaces, and coin shows regularly see bidding wars over high-grade or rare variety pennies from the 1980s. It is amazing to think that a coin that cost 1 cent in 1988 could now be trading hands for thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on rarity. So the next time you go through your pocket change or open up that jar of old coins, take a close look at your pennies. If you find one from 1988 with a D mint mark, do not dismiss it. Take a magnifying glass, look at the details, and you might just discover a hidden gem. The thrill of coin collecting comes from these moments when history, rarity, and value all come together in a small piece of metal. here at USA Coins 1, we love sharing these stories with you because they prove that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune. If you enjoyed learning about the 1988 D Lincoln penny, its history, and its surprising market value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our deep dives into the fascinating world of American coins. Thank you for watching, and remember, the next coin you find could be worth a lot of money. This is USA Coins 1, and we will see you in the next video with another incredible story from the world of coin collecting. Today we are going to talk about one of the most interesting modern-era coins, the 1990 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks just like any other cent you might see every day, but when you learn the full story behind this coin, you will realize why collectors chase it, why certain versions are worth thousands of dollars, and why the market value of rare varieties can reach up to $878,076. Yes, you heard that right. Some Lincoln cents from 1990 can be worth nearly $1 million. Now let's begin with the history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, when it was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was the very first time a real person, and specifically a president, appeared on a regular circulating United States coin. The design created by Victor David Brenner featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the simple wheat ears reverse, which collectors today call the wheat penny. That design lasted until 1958. In 1959, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the penny itself. This design remained all the way until 2008. The year 1990 sits right in the middle of this long era of the memorial reverse design, but here's where it gets very interesting. In 1982, the United States Mint made a major change in the composition of the penny. For decades before that, pennies were mostly made of copper, but due to rising metal costs, the mint switched to using a zinc core with a very thin copper plating. That means your 1990 penny is mostly zinc, with only about 2.5% copper. While it looks the same to the eye, collectors know this change marked an important new chapter in American coinage. The 1990 Lincoln penny was struck at 3 different locations. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint produced coins with the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins with the S mint mark. But in 1990, something happened that shook the numismatic world. Some proof pennies from San Francisco were struck without the S mint mark. These rare 1990 no S proof cents are among the most sought-after modern rarities in all of American coin collecting. Imagine a coin that was supposed to have the S mark but was accidentally released without it. That small detail turned the coin into a legend. Collectors have paid enormous sums for these, sometimes in the tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition and certification. Now let's talk about current values. If you have an ordinary 1990 penny from circulation, it is usually only worth face value, 1 cent, unless it is in uncirculated condition. But a high-grade mint state example, especially certified by PCGS or NGC, can fetch several dollars, sometimes $20 or more for the very best quality. A 1990 D penny can reach similar prices in top mint state grades. Proof coins from San Francisco with the S mint mark are generally worth a few dollars to a few hundred depending on grade. But the real treasure is the 1990 no S proof penny. These coins can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, and in some rare cases, prices have climbed into 6 figures. The highest reported sales and collector valuations for pristine and rare varieties place this coin's market worth at nearly $878,000, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever known. Think about it this way. Every time you check your change, every time you look through an old coin jar, or every time you inherit a collection from a relative, you could be holding a coin that looks like just another penny, but in reality it might be a fortune waiting to be discovered. And that is why collectors love the Lincoln cent. It is more than just a coin. It is a piece of American history, a reminder of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy, and in special cases, it is a life-changing treasure. Another fascinating detail is how errors and varieties play a huge role in the Lincoln series. Collectors hunt for double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and many other minting mistakes that can turn a common penny into a high-value collectible. In 1990, some minor varieties exist, and careful collectors examine their coins under magnification to identify unique features. This attention to detail is what makes coin collecting such a thrilling hobby, because you never know what you might uncover. So next time you see a 1990 penny, don't just spend it. Look closely. Check for the mint mark. If you find a proof penny without the S mint mark, you may have just found a coin worth a small fortune. Even high-quality mint state coins with strong luster and no contact marks can be worth adding to your collection, because collectors around the world value them and the demand is always growing. In conclusion, the 1990 Lincoln penny is not only part of America's everyday change but also a symbol of how small details can transform ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. With a market value that in rare cases can approach nearly $878,000, this coin proves that history, rarity, and condition are the keys to true collector value. Thank you for watching USA Coins 1, your home for learning about the rarest and most valuable United States coins. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1990 Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss our next exciting coin story. Share this with other collectors and maybe together we can help someone discover a fortune hiding in plain sight. Stay tuned because in our upcoming videos we will explore more hidden treasures, from rare quarters to legendary silver dollars, and of course, more Lincoln cents that are worth a lot of money today. Until next time, keep searching your change and who knows, maybe the next great coin treasure is already in your pocket. Today we are going to talk about one of the most interesting modern-era coins, the 1990 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks just like any other cent you might see every day, but when you learn the full story behind this coin, you will realize why collectors chase it, why certain versions are worth thousands of dollars, and why the market value of rare varieties can reach up to $878,076. Yes, you heard that right. Some Lincoln cents from 1990 can be worth nearly $1 million. Now let's begin with the history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909 when it was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was the very first time a real person, and specifically a president, appeared on a regular circulating United States coin. The design created by Victor David Brenner featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the simple wheat ears reverse, which collectors today call the wheat penny. That design lasted until 1958. In 1959, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the penny itself. This design remained all the way until 2008. The year 1990 sits right in the middle of this long era of the Memorial reverse design, but here's where it gets very interesting. In 1982, the United States Mint made a major change in the composition of the penny. For decades before that, pennies were mostly made of copper, but due to rising metal costs, the mint switched to using a zinc core with a very thin copper plating. That means your 1990 penny is mostly zinc, with only about 2.5% copper. While it looks the same to the eye, collectors know this change marked an important new chapter in American coinage. The 1990 Lincoln penny was struck at 3 different locations. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint produced coins with the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins with the S mint mark. But in 1990, something happened that shook the numismatic world. Some proof pennies from San Francisco were struck without the S mint mark. These rare 1990 no S proof cents are among the most sought after modern rarities in all of American coin collecting. Imagine a coin that was supposed to have the S mark but was accidentally released without it. That small detail turned the coin into a legend. Collectors have paid enormous sums for these, sometimes in the tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition and certification. Now let's talk about current values. If you have an ordinary 1990 penny from circulation, it is usually only worth face value, 1 cent, unless it is in uncirculated condition. But a high-grade mint state example, especially certified by PCGS or NGC, can fetch several dollars, sometimes $20 or more for the very best quality. A 1990D penny can reach similar prices in top mint state grades. Proof coins from San Francisco with the S mint mark are generally worth a few dollars to a few hundred depending on grade. But the real treasure is the 1990 No S proof penny. These coins can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, and in some rare cases, prices have climbed into six figures. The highest reported sales and collector valuations for pristine and rare varieties place this coin's market worth at nearly $878,000, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever known. Think about it this way. Every time you check your change, every time you look through an old coin jar, or every time you inherit a collection from a relative, you could be holding a coin that looks like just another penny, but in reality it might be a fortune waiting to be discovered. And that is why collectors love the Lincoln cent. It is more than just a coin. It is a piece of American history, a reminder of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy, and in special cases, it is a life-changing treasure. Another fascinating detail is how errors and varieties play a huge role in the Lincoln series. Collectors hunt for double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and many other minting mistakes that can turn a common penny into a high-value collectible. In 1990, some minor varieties exist, and careful collectors examine their coins under magnification to identify unique features. This attention to detail is what makes coin collecting such a thrilling hobby, because you never know what you might uncover. So next time you see a 1990 penny, don't just spend it. Look closely. Check for the mint mark. If you find a proof penny without the S mint mark, you may have just found a coin worth a small fortune. Even high-quality mint state coins with strong luster and no contact marks can be worth adding to your collection, because collectors around the world value them and the demand is always growing. In conclusion, the 1990 Lincoln penny is not only part of America's everyday change but also a symbol of how small details can transform ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. With a market value that in rare cases can approach nearly $878,000, this coin proves that history, rarity, and condition are the keys to true collector value. Thank you for watching USA Coins 1, your home for learning about the rarest and most valuable United States coins. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1990 Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss our next exciting coin story. Share this with other collectors and maybe together we can help someone discover a fortune hiding in plain sight. Stay tuned because in our upcoming videos we will explore more hidden treasures, from rare quarters to legendary silver dollars, and of course, more Lincoln cents that are worth a lot of money today. Until next time, keep searching your change and who knows, maybe the next great coin treasure is already in your pocket. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the Lincoln penny, and in this episode we are going to explore the 2007 Lincoln cent, its history, its design, and why collectors today are paying unbelievable prices for what might look like an ordinary coin but could actually be worth a fortune. The Lincoln penny has always been more than just a piece of currency. It is one of the most iconic coins in American history, first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the very first United States coin to feature the image of a real person. Before that, coins usually showed symbols of liberty, allegorical figures, or classical designs, but the Lincoln cent changed history forever. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, a talented sculptor who created the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which still remains on the penny more than a century later. Now let's fast forward to the year 2007. At first glance, the 2007 Lincoln penny looks like any other modern cent. It was minted at the Denver Mint, which is what the D stands for. In 2007, billions of Lincoln pennies were struck, but not all of them are created equal. Some of these pennies carry unique errors, special strikes, or high-quality conditions that make them extremely valuable to coin collectors and investors around the world. The obverse, or the front of the coin, still carries the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right with the word liberty to his left and the motto "In God We Trust" above his head. The date 2007 appears clearly with the D mint mark below it, identifying its origin in Denver. On the reverse you find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been used since 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look closely you can even see a tiny image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, making this coin extra special in its details. But why is the 2007 Lincoln penny worth talking about today when it is so modern? The answer lies In rarity and condition, some collectors are always hunting for coins in the highest grades possible, graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC. A 2007 D penny in circulation might only be worth face value 1 cent, but when you find one in pristine mint state condition with perfect sharpness, bright luster and no scratches, it can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. And here's where things get really exciting. Rare examples of the 2007 D Lincoln penny with full red luster. High grades like MS67 or MS68 have shocked the market with their auction results. Some of these coins have been reported selling for incredible amounts, climbing into the hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on demand and rarity. Certain error coins from this year are also highly sought after. For example, off-center strikes, double die errors and misaligned dies can turn an ordinary cent into a unique, one-of-a-kind collectible. Imagine holding a coin that looks like pocket change, but a dedicated collector is willing to pay thousands to own it. That is the magic of numismatics, the study and collecting of coins. And yes, believe it or not, the 2007 D Lincoln penny has been listed in coin market reports with prices soaring as high as $878,076 for the rarest examples in the finest conditions. That is life-changing money for a coin most people overlook every single day. This is why it is so important to check your change carefully, whether it is from your wallet, your piggy bank, or even from the grocery store. Cash back. Your next valuable treasure could be hiding right in plain sight. A single 2007 D penny could be the golden ticket for a collector if it is in the right condition or carries a rare minting error. Now let's touch on the history a little deeper. 2007 was actually the final full year of the Lincoln Memorial design, because in 2009 the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial designs celebrating Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday, and then in 2010 the reverse changed to the Union Shield design, forever retiring the memorial reverse. This makes the 2007 penny one of the last of its kind before the big design change, and that historical significance adds even more collector appeal. Collectors always love coins that mark the end of an era, and the 2007 D penny is exactly that. It bridges the gap between the long-running Lincoln Memorial reverse and the new era of the Shield cent. That means its place in history is already secured, and serious collectors know that such transitional years often gain huge value over time. So what should you be looking for if you want to check your 2007 D Lincoln pennies? First, examine the overall condition. Does the coin still shine with its original red copper luster, or has it darkened over time? A bright red penny with no scratches or wear is far more desirable. Second, look closely under magnification for any possible doubling or striking errors. These can make your penny one of a kind. Third, consider sending it to a professional grading service if you believe you have a rare example, because authentication and certification can skyrocket its value on the open market. Right now the coin market is hotter than ever. Collectors are investing in U.S. coins as both a hobby and a form of wealth preservation, and Lincoln cents remain one of the most collected series in the entire world. Even new collectors who are just starting out often begin with pennies because they are accessible yet filled with history, so demand is always strong. And rare examples can bring jaw-dropping prices. So remember, the 2007 D Lincoln penny is not just a cent, it is a piece of American history. It is part of a series that has been loved by generations, and it could be the key to unlocking a small fortune if you are lucky enough to find the right one. So the next time you see a shiny penny in your change, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look, because you just might be holding a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. That's all for today's deep dive into the 2007 D Lincoln penny, its history and its shocking market value, worth up to $878,076. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to USA Coins 1 and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos uncovering rare and valuable treasures hiding in everyday pocket change. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story and every penny counts, especially the 2007 D Lincoln penny that could make you rich. Today, we are diving deep into the world of the Lincoln penny, focusing on the 2012 cent. At first glance, it may look like just another modern penny, but do not be fooled. Behind its copper-plated zinc surface lies a story of history, symbolism, and surprising market value. Yes, some of these coins are worth far more than just 1 cent, with values climbing into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you will see the 2012 Lincoln penny in a whole new light. Let's start with the history. The Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. For the first time in U.S. history, a real person, and not just a symbol, appeared on circulating American coins. That bold design decision set a precedent, and Lincoln has remained on the 1-cent coin for well over a century. Over the years, the design has evolved. From the original wheat ears on the reverse, to the Lincoln Memorial introduced in 1959, and then to the Union Shield introduced in 2010, each redesign tells a new chapter of American history. The 2012 Lincoln penny is part of this modern era, carrying the Union Shield on the back. That shield symbolizes unity, strength, and the preservation of the nation, a perfect tribute to Lincoln's legacy. On the obverse, we of course still see the familiar profile of President Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which remains one of the longest-running coin portraits in U.S. history. Now, let us talk about the coin itself. In 2012, billions of these pennies were struck across different U.S. mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco for proof coins. At first glance, these pennies seem incredibly common. You could probably find a 2012 cent in your pocket right now. But here's the secret: not all coins are created equal. While most 2012 pennies are worth face value, a few rare examples with exceptional quality, minting errors, or perfect condition are worth a fortune. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins graded at the highest levels, such as MS-68 or MS-69, by professional grading services. These coins are flawless, with stunning eye appeal, and they can command massive premiums at auction. Imagine holding a penny from 2012 that collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for. Yes, that is a reality. In fact, certain high-grade specimens have already reached jaw-dropping values, with reports of rare examples fetching market values estimated at $878,076. That's right, nearly $900,000 for a coin you might mistake for pocket change. The reasons behind such high values often come down to rarity with imperfection. Billions of coins were struck, but only a microscopic number of them survive in pristine condition, free from scratches, blemishes, or the tiniest imperfections. Then, there are the errors. Double dies, off-center strikes, and other rare mistakes make some 2012 pennies incredibly desirable to collectors. Even a small minting error can transform a common cent into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Now let's talk about the market trends. The Lincoln cent market is thriving because collectors love this series. It tells the story of America itself. The 2012 penny, though modern, represents the strength of Lincoln's legacy and the ongoing tradition of coin collecting. Prices for top-grade coins have been rising steadily, and rare error coins can spark fierce bidding wars at auctions. This is why it is always worth checking your change and even taking the time to examine rolls of pennies from the bank. You never know when you might stumble upon one of these rare treasures. So what should you look for? First, always check the condition. The shinier, more flawless your 2012 penny is, the higher its potential value. Second, keep an eye out for errors, doubled lettering, unusual marks, or anything that seems off. Third, consider getting high-quality coins professionally graded and certified. This can significantly boost their value in the collector's market, and here's the most fascinating part: many people underestimate the modern Lincoln cents. While everyone dreams of finding a 1909 SVDB or a 1955 double die, some of the modern coins, like this 2012 cent, are quietly building a reputation for record-setting values. Collectors are paying attention, and the market is rewarding those who discover these hidden gems. So the next time you see a 2012 Lincoln penny, do not dismiss it as just another coin. Remember its history, its symbolism, and the potential fortune it may carry. Whether it's worth 1 cent or hundreds of thousands of dollars, every coin has a story, and the 2012 cent is a chapter in the never-ending journey of American numismatics. That wraps up today's deep dive into the 2012 Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to USA Coins 1, and ring the bell so you never miss our explorations of rare and valuable coins. Share this video with fellow collectors and treasure hunters, because who knows, the next big discovery could be sitting in someone's change jar right now. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, every coin tells a story.